There is a Tesla that does not exist. It has no page on the company website, no configurator, no reservation button, and no price anyone can point to. Ask Tesla directly, and the answer is that there is nothing to discuss, because there is no such car. And yet, the conversation around it has grown louder every single month, pulled forward by leaks, by drone footage, by regulatory paperwork, and by the quiet behavior of a company that has always said less than it was actually doing. The car is called the NV9 inside Tesla, and the strange truth is that the harder Tesla insists it isn't real, the more evidence keeps stacking up in the opposite direction. The starting point is not a rumor from a forum or a rendering made by a fan with too much free time. It is a Reuters report published in April, built on 4 separate sources inside the company, all describing the same vehicle. According to those sources, Tesla has been quietly developing a compact electric SUV, roughly 14 feet long, designed to carry 4 passengers, weighing somewhere around 3,300 pounds. It was described as an entry-level product, positioned below anything Tesla currently sells, and intended to enter production first in Shanghai rather than in the United States. 4 people, 1 story, no meaningful contradictions between them. Tesla China responded almost immediately, and the response was a flat denial. No such vehicle, no such plan, nothing to see. Under normal circumstances, a denial from the company that would actually build the car would settle the matter and everyone could move on to the next story. These are not normal circumstances. Tesla has a documented, repeatable, almost predictable pattern of denying reports that later turn out to be completely accurate. And that pattern is recent enough that anyone paying attention can recall it without digging through archives. A denial from Tesla is information, but it is not the kind of information most people assume it is. Consider what happened in 2024. Reports surfaced that the Cybertruck was heading to China, and Tesla China denied them with the same confidence it is using now. Days later, the vehicle appeared in a Chinese ministry filing, a government document that exists precisely because a manufacturer submitted it. The denial did not survive a single week. That episode alone would be enough to make anyone cautious about taking the current denial at face value. But the NV9 story has something even stranger attached to it. And it involves Elon Musk personally, rather than a corporate communications account. In April of that same year, Reuters reported that Tesla had killed the original affordable car project. Musk publicly called the reporting false and accused Reuters of lying. Weeks passed. Then Tesla's own senior executives confirmed, on the record, that Musk had personally shut the program down exactly as reported. The denial was not just wrong. It was wrong about something the person issuing the denial had done himself. That is the credibility environment the current denial is arriving into, and it explains why so few people treated the April statement as the end of the conversation rather than the beginning of one. So the question is not really whether Tesla is telling the truth. The question is what a company with this specific history is likely doing while it says nothing at all. And that is where the story gets genuinely interesting, because the evidence for the NV9 does not come from what Tesla says. It comes from what Tesla is building right now, in plain sight, in a factory anyone can fly a drone over. The parking lots, the production counts, the SEC filings, and the software updates are all telling a story of their own, and none of them require a press release to be read. It is being built in software, and the pace there has changed noticeably in recent months. A modern Tesla is, in practical terms, a container for code, and the code is where most of the value now lives. On June 29th, Tesla began rolling out a version of FSD V14 called Light-to-Hardware 3 vehicles, which is a bigger deal than the modest name suggests. Those are the roughly 4 million older cars that had been frozen on version 12.6 since early 2025, watching newer vehicles receive improvements they could not run. That freeze had become one of the loudest complaints in the entire ownership base. The company's AI chief, Ashok Eluswamy, confirmed the rollout publicly. The engineering behind it involves distilling the intelligence developed on the newer hardware 4-chip architecture down into something the older silicon can actually execute, which is a genuinely difficult problem rather than a marketing exercise. Owners running it report better responsiveness, smoother lane changes, and improved behavior at intersections. For the first time on that hardware, the system also handles parking, unparking, and reversing. 3 functions those cars had simply never been able to perform on their own. A new vehicle would not be dealing with any of those constraints. Anything Tesla builds today ships with hardware 4, which means the NV9 would arrive running the full, uncompromised version of V14, rather than a distilled adaptation of it. That full version reacts roughly 20% faster than the previous generation. It includes selectable driving personalities, among them a profile named Sloth, which behaves exactly as the name implies, favoring caution and patience over speed. It sounds like a novelty until someone is riding with a nervous passenger, and suddenly it isn't. The arrival behavior is where the system starts feeling less like driver assistance and more like something else. Instead of simply stopping at a destination, the car can decide how to complete the trip. It can pull up to the curb the way a taxi would, park on the street, or go find a lot on its own. Real-world testing from reviewers in Australia and New Zealand over the past weeks has the system completing more than half of full journeys end-to-end without any driver intervention at all. Not most of the driving within a trip. More than half of entire trips, start to finish. Then there is Grok. And this is where the roadmap starts pointing somewhere unfamiliar. Grok is already present in Tesla vehicles across the United States. But today, it functions as a conversational assistant that talks and answers rather than one that acts. On June 18th, Musk confirmed that this changes. Grok will gain the ability to issue live commands directly into the FSD planning layer, meaning a spoken instruction would not be a suggestion the car considers, but an input the driving system actually executes. The target he named is approximately September 2026. Anyone who has tracked Musk's relationship with calendars knows what to do with that date. A September target landing in December would surprise almost nobody, and dates have slipped far worse than that before. The direction, though, is not ambiguous, and the direction is what matters for a buyer trying to understand what a future entry-level Tesla would actually contain. A person stepping into an NV9 would be stepping into the most capable version of this stack, on the newest hardware with no legacy limitations holding it back. That is the generous reading of the situation, and it deserves a much harder one. Start with the number everyone remembers: $25,000. That figure came from Musk's 2023 Investor Day presentation. It has been repeated in headlines ever since. And it is dead. It died alongside the federal EV tax credit, which expired for vehicles purchased after September 30th, 2025, as part of the budget legislation passed this year. Every article that made a cheap Tesla sound irresistible was quietly leaning on that credit to get the number down to $17,500 after incentives. That arithmetic no longer exists, and no amount of nostalgia brings it back. Analysts who have looked at the situation without wishful thinking now place the likely real-world price of a production NV9 somewhere in the low to mid-30,000s, possibly higher. To understand why that is not an insult but simply reality, look at what Tesla currently sells. The cheapest Tesla available in the United States right now is the Model 3 Standard at $36,990. The Model Y Standard starts at $39,990. Both are rear-wheel drive, and both reached those prices by stripping out features, including auto-steer and even AM/FM radio. An NV9 would presumably land below both of those, and that is genuinely meaningful. It is also not $25,000, and it never will be. That number served a purpose for 3 years. It kept a story alive, kept a promise circulating, and kept people waiting. It can be retired now without anyone feeling cheated, as long as expectations get adjusted honestly rather than defended out of habit. The second thing missing is a production date, and this one is easy to verify. Tesla's own SEC filing as of the first quarter of 2026 does not list the NV9 as a separate line item. It is not there. The Cybercab appears, described as pilot production. The Semi appears, described as being in series production as of April 2026. Those are real programs with real status labels attached to them, filed with a regulator. The NV9 has no such entry, which means Tesla has not committed to it in the one place where commitments carry legal consequences. The third gap is the one most likely to disappoint, because it involves the promise that has defined Tesla for a decade. The autonomous experience is not here. Tesla's unsupervised robo-taxi service in Austin launched a full year ago, and today it operates with roughly 20 vehicles inside a limited geo-fenced area. That is the entire deployment. California regulators have confirmed that Tesla is not operating an autonomous vehicle service in that state at all. The car described as driverless, with a human-driven option available, is at this moment mostly the human-driven option. None of that erases what FSD actually does, and it is impressive, and it is improving quickly enough to make skeptics uncomfortable. But legally and technically, it remains a supervised Level 2 system. The person in the driver's seat is still the person responsible for everything the car does, and that fact does not change based on how well the software performs on a given afternoon. It applies to an NV9 exactly as it applies to every Tesla on the road today, which raises an obvious question about why Tesla would push so hard on a cheaper car in the first place, and the answer sits in the sales numbers. Those numbers are not comfortable reading. Tesla's sales in the United States are down roughly 15% year-over-year through May. And that decline is happening in the company's home market, the one it has dominated for a decade, against a lineup that is still the most recognizable in the industry. A drop of that size is not a rounding error or a seasonal dip. It is the market telling a company that the products it sells are priced for a customer who is running out of reasons to buy. The European picture looks better on the surface, and it is worth being careful about why. Registrations there are up nearly 90% year-over-year, which sounds like a triumph until the starting point comes into view. Tesla cratered in Europe during 2025, losing enormous ground in nearly every major market. And a recovery measured against a collapse will always produce a spectacular percentage. The recovery is real, and it is happening, but it is a return toward normal rather than an expansion beyond it. And those are two very different things for a company that needs growth. Globally, the first quarter delivered 358,000 vehicles, which came in below analyst consensus. Goldman Sachs, Barclays, and RBC all expect the second quarter to land stronger, somewhere between 405,000 and 420,000 units, and the actual figure arrives when Tesla reports on Wednesday. Even a strong quarter, though, sits inside a full-year outlook that has already been revised downward by 35,000 units, compared to where analysts stood just 3 months ago. The direction of the revisions matters more than any single quarter. What Tesla needs is volume, and volume has a very unforgiving relationship with price. The company cannot generate meaningful volume in 2026 while its entry point sits near $40,000, because the federal tax credit that used to close that gap is gone. Every buyer who was previously nudged over the line by $7,500 of incentive is now looking at the full sticker with nothing to soften it. And a large number of those buyers are simply deciding to wait or to shop elsewhere. Elsewhere is now a crowded and increasingly serious place. The redesigned Nissan Leaf arrives at $29,990 with 303 miles of range, a combination that would have been science fiction 3 years ago and is now sitting in dealerships. That car does not need to be better than a Tesla to hurt Tesla. It only needs to be good enough while costing $10,000 less. And for a large share of the market, good enough at that price is exactly what people are looking for. That is the pressure that makes the NV9 something closer to a necessity than a nice idea. A cheaper Tesla is not a side project for enthusiasts or a way to grow the brand into new segments. It is the only mechanism the company has to restore volume in a market where the incentives disappeared and the competition arrived at the same time. Which means the question worth asking is no longer whether Tesla wants to build it, because the numbers answer that. The question is how to tell, without waiting on an announcement, whether it is actually coming. The answer is that nobody needs to wait for Tesla to say anything. Companies announce things when it suits them, but they leave evidence long before that, in production yards, in government paperwork, in regulatory approvals, and in quarterly numbers they are legally required to publish. Anyone watching those 4 places will understand what is happening well before a press release confirms it. The signals are already visible, and they are specific enough that a person can check them without any special access. The first one is Cybercab output at Giga, Texas. Drone footage from that site is updated almost weekly, and the useful measurement is not how many vehicles are parked in a lot on a given Sunday. Inventory sitting in a yard proves that a line ran. Sustained quarters above 10,000 units prove that a line works. When the count reaches that level consistently, the unboxed process will have been validated at true scale, and the manufacturing path for an affordable Tesla stops being a theory. The second signal is Shanghai. 3 of the 4 Reuters sources said production would begin in China, and China is a country where regulatory filings tend to surface weeks ahead of any official announcement. Manufacturers must submit vehicles to the Ministry of Industry before they can be sold, and those documents become public. If a compact Tesla appears in one of those filings, that is not speculation or a leak that can be denied. It is a government record, and it would be the first hard confirmation the NV9 exists as a real product rather than a program. The third signal is FSD expansion, which is easy to dismiss as unrelated and is nothing of the sort. Belgium approved FSD in June. Denmark approved it. Australia received version 14.3.3 last week. Every market that grants approval becomes a market where Tesla can sell a vehicle whose software subscription actually justifies its price. A cheap car with a thin margin only becomes profitable if the buyer keeps paying after the sale. And the regulatory groundwork being laid country by country is what makes that model possible. The fourth signal arrives Wednesday with the second quarter delivery report, and it works in both directions. If Tesla beats 400 to 20,000 deliveries, the company has financial headroom to fund a new vehicle program without straining anything. If it misses, the pressure to accelerate an affordable model does not ease, it intensifies,